Greetings everyone, Ray Landis here with a follow-up video on this Firefly FFST new Firefly model. Let me get this tuner off of here. This is the brand new Firefly with the new headstock shape, and I've done some mods to it, just a couple mods and simple mods. I mean, big time change, but simple and easy to do. And this guitar, I would say at this point, is professional quality and is super primo as an instrument. Now, there's a certain thing about this instrument that's different than the other Fireflies that I have, and I can say it's kind of like the neck and the body of the guitar are proprietary. You really are going to be hard bent to try to be able to find a neck that would fit this body, or if you wanted to use this body in another build with some other parts, another neck or something, it's not going to be something that you can do, because the way that the neck fits in to the neck pocket, it's been modified in some way. And I think my thought is that this neck may be one that they're using on both Strat style guitars and Tele style guitars, because the headstock is kind of a cross between the two. And I think that the shape of the neck pocket is probably more like a Strat in its beginnings, and it had to be modified to receive this neck, and it's most likely because the neck is flat on the bottom at the heel. And those of you who have ever tried to change back and forth between a Tele and a Strat neck, you can put a Strat neck on a Tele, but you can't put a Tele neck on a Strat because of the scale length and the way that it fits into the back of the neck pocket. The Strat has a curve and the Tele is straight, so the neck pocket on the Strat has a curve at this back part on each side, so that the most extreme length of the neck can fit back all the way against the farthest point of the neck pocket, if that explains it well. And if it's square, it's not going to reach that point. So if you take this neck off, and the best review I've seen on this guitar is by Jayce Allen. He actually takes the thing apart and dissects every component of it, and he shows how the neck was altered. There is some work that's been done to either side of the neck, plus the neck pocket as well has been worked, and then on mine as well as on his, there is a little stack of material, one of them being a piece of sandpaper that's used as a shim at the back of this neck to bring the neck angle back, so that you can get your saddles and all lined up to set this up. So other than that, I think this is the greatest Firefly that I've got, and I'm saying that because of the features. It's got all of the cuts and everything that make this one of the most comfortable guitars to play. And you can see it's got the tapered heel joint, it's got the contour at the handshake, and it's also got the belly cut. I left the back plate off because I wanted to show you the mods that I've done to it, and to be able to see in there. This guitar stays in perfect tune. You can just take that whammy bar and do anything you want with it, and it comes back into perfect tune. It would not do that with the original Firefly whammy bar. And I found that this is a common thing with Firefly whammy bars, tremolo system on those. They don't really work very well. And there's a couple fixes that you can do to remedy that. One is you can deck the trem, and then you've got good tuning stability. But if you want a floating trem, then you've got to decide what you're going to do. You're either going to use it super light and not throw your tuning out, which is, I don't think, a good option, because they just don't stay in tune no matter what you do with them. The other option, and the best thing if you want to have a good working trem, is to change out the trem system. This one is a Kaynes 2-point trem with a brass block. The block actually is separate from the socket where the whammy bar goes in. Now, I did use the original claw. I didn't take the claw out, and I used the original springs. And on this bridge, there was originally a different saddle, and I'm going to show you that on screen. The saddle was, I took that off and used it on another guitar, so I had this tremolo and I needed saddle, so I ordered Kaynes saddles in a block configuration, same width, they're 10.5 millimeter, and I put those on this trem, and they work perfectly. And I did not have to change out the studs, so that the 2-point trem fit right on to the original posts that were on the Firefly trem system, because those were good, but the trem wouldn't work. And I usually put 3 springs in the back. Another remedy to make the trem feel different, if there's enough space, you can pull those 2 screws tighter and use 2 trem springs on. I usually, if I do that, I put those on the outside and go straight with them, and then you have a more flexible, easy to use feel to the trem arm. And the 2 springs, they do work, but I always try 3 springs first. So this one's got 3 springs, and if you can, I don't know if I can get the light to shine in there just right. Let me change my lighting a little bit. If you look at the inside of the body there, inside, let me get a flashlight. This might help a little bit. If you notice, inside of there, I've got a piece of foam underneath of the springs, so that these springs don't make much sound at all. So that really makes that kind of work really nicely. It doesn't interfere with the springs. And this trem has a push-in bar, which is one of my favorites. And you can change the tension on the spring, the feel of the arm, by a small set screw right here. That has changed this guitar into a super dynamic instrument, because this trem, I'm going to play a few things for you, but this trem stays in perfect tune and makes this guitar so dynamic, and it's like, it's really incredible. The second mod that I decided to do was to drop in a loaded pickguard that I had from a Fender Player Plus series guitar with a mint green look. Now, they say that this guitar is white, but it's not really white. It's like a buttercream, it's maybe like an ivory. It's just not, it's not really white, it's an off-white. So the white pickguard on this with the pickups, they didn't sound bad. these pickups sound fantastic. So you can come up with any combination of pickups that you want. But these are fantastic. They are noiseless Gen 4 Fender pickups with a Fender humbucker. And then I've also got a coil split here to give me a single coil sound if I want in the bridge. But the big thing that I like about this is that this particular pickguard is the mint green, and the mint green goes super nice with the color of the body and makes this thing really pop. I mean, I think that looks fantastic and really does make the instrument look a little more professional. Again, nothing wrong with the original pickups that were in this, but these are a notch up, and the pickguard I think looks a lot better. So the next thing I did to it was I put on new locking tuners, and if I can get that to focus, those locking tuners are made by a company called ARM, and they are about, I think, 18-to-1 ratio. The Firefly locking tuners have a little to be desired. They just don't tend to work as well as you would expect, especially on a guitar that has a trem. If you have it on a guitar that doesn't have a trem, they're perfect. There's nothing wrong with them because you don't have to be concerned about any slippage or anything. They say that those, I think if you look at the review that was done by Jayce Allen, he, I think, figured out that they were 32-to-1 ratio, which that's the reason why you keep turning and turning and you wonder if you're getting anywhere, because it's a huge ratio. These are about 18-to-1, and they're perfect. They don't slip at all. So the last mod I did to it was I took some roller string trees and I replaced those little bent steel ones with these, and I lubricated everything with that. This is called Tune It. It's made by Nomad, and this stuff, and you apply it with a little gadget they put in the system, in the package, and I applied that at all the saddles. I applied that at the string tree, and I applied that at the nut. I did carve the nut and set everything up, just the way I like it. I've got about 63 thousandths at the 12th fret. That's kind of what I like. I shoot for somewhere between 61 and 64, and so I've got the action I like. But this guitar is fantastic. It's dynamite. It's awesome. It's really like everything that I had hoped it would be. The neck is perfect. Everything else is good. Once again, the neck is, I think, proprietary. I would call it proprietary. You can't really swap out the neck. I was going to put a Fender Player Plus modified neck on this guitar, and I put it in the neck pocket and it just jiggled all around. There was space everywhere. So this neck is like not, unlike other Fireflies that have a really good compatibility with parts from Fender and various other parts that you would use to mod out guitars. They generally will fit. I've swapped out necks and bodies before with Fireflies, but this neck is going to be for this guitar, and that's it. You got that. That's what you got. So I want to play a couple things for you and let you hear how it kind of works, give you an idea how this trem stays in tune. Another thing about this guitar that I was happy to discover is that inside of the jack route there is a hole that was drilled at the back of that route, so that the cord, the tip of your plug will go into that, and it won't feel so tight. So it stays in remarkable tune, and even after some bends. There's an open D, which sometimes sounds horrible after you do some bends. Not in perfect tune, but it's really good. And of course, this pickup setup is not what you're going to have in yours if you keep the pickups, because you could just, if you wanted to keep the original pickguard, just change out the trem and the tuners. You'd have the original sound, and you just have an upgraded trem system. Just starting to go out of tune a little bit, but I really went at it with it. So I would say it's still acceptable. People wouldn't notice it's out of tune. Maybe that. So you're starting to notice it, but you don't always use your trem that much. Still sounds really good at open E. Still sounds really good open, or bar chord A. So once again, I highly recommend this Kaynes trem, and I'll put information in the description about this particular trem. They used to be around 25. I think they're about 35 now. Well worth it. The saddles that are on it originally are great. They can be used. They're also brass, or you can order these more modern looking saddles. And the tuners are usually about $22. So if this has helped you in some way and inspired you to take your Firefly FFST in this new format with the new headstock and do some mods to it, maybe to make it your best backup guitar or even your best first stringer, I would say it definitely can be made into your first choice of guitar. And if you've gained anything from this, I'm going to ask that you give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share, like, and comment, and I will see you next time for the next guitar adventure. Take care.